Our article begins with this sentence. This year, the Taipei City Animal Protection Office placed a ban on putting shelter animals to sleep. Okay, so a ban is an official rule that prevents something from being used or done.
You can't do this. It's been banned.
So that means shelters can't put animals to sleep. Shelters cannot kill animals.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
Let's use the word ban in an example sentence. Many cities have a ban on smoking inside public buildings.
That's true. That's true. And soon they're going to ban smoking even outside at bus stops and places like that. So often if something's been banned, there'll be a sign with a red circle and that red line through it there, right? It means you can't do it.
We can also use ban as a verb.
Oh, okay.
For example, if I catch you smoking inside the building again, I will ban you from entering the building.
Yeah, absolutely. Your mom might say, you're banned from watching TV until you finish your homework or something like that. It means it's something you're not allowed to do. Okay, let's get back in the article. It says this placed more pressure on animal shelters that are already overcrowded. Yes, we understand that putting the animals to sleep is not nice, but what about the animals in the shelter? That's one question. Another thing I heard from someone who works at an animal shelter, they were afraid that people are going to say, well, if I take the animal to the shelter, they won't take him because they can't put him to sleep, so more people are just going to throw their animals out in the countryside or something like that. So not sure this is the wisest move over the long term, but it's kind of understandable. Anyway, there's a lot of pressure on these animal shelters and the people who want to help these sick animals. What is pressure? Pressure is kind of like stress, that feeling of being nervous, that feeling of so many things to do and so much responsibility and not enough time. If it's, you know, the week before your big exams, oh, so much pressure and you're worried, what if I fail and I can't sleep well and my stomach feels nervous all the time. Those are some of the physical signs of pressure, stress, this feeling of being under the gun. People are watching you and everything you do is very important and you can't make a mistake. For example, the pilot felt lots of pressure landing the airplane in the rainstorm, right? He's worried about everything and he's got to do it safely and beep, 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 lights are going off. The pressure, it's too much.
Okay, so since animal shelters are overcrowded, which means it's crowded or there's a lot of animals in a shelter, maybe
too many already. 2
or 3 in one cage.
That's not good.
Our article says, this is why pet adoption is becoming more important than ever.
That's right. Let's find homes, loving, happy homes for these beautiful animals who just want some love and a little bit of a scratch behind the ear. Not only does it combat the problem of stray animals, we're talking about animal adoption, it combats or fights the problem of stray animals, but it's also a much more ethical way to become a dog owner. Absolutely. It's the best way to get a pet. Go to the shelter. There's tons of them there. They're free.
They are free, yeah.
Okay, here we're going to have another closer look at our sentence structure, not only da-da-da, but also da-da-da. Okay, now yesterday I mentioned that this is a very easy way, for example, to say 2 things that are true at the same time. It was an exciting and interesting movie. Not only was the movie exciting, but it was also interesting. But you'll notice not only was the movie exciting, but it was also interesting. I've kind of switched a few words around there, right? Here's my umbrella. It's very small and it's very useful. For example, I could say not only is it small. I don't say it is small. Not only it is small. No, you have to switch those around because you're using the not at the beginning. So here's my umbrella. It is small. It is useful. That's how I would say it. But if I plug it into this not only but also structure, things move around a bit. Not only is it small, but it's also useful. All right, so that's how we would use that sentence structure. Fairly easy, but you do have to pay attention, especially in the first half, the not only. We're putting the verb before the subject. A little strange. All right? And we also use the word combat. Now notice, we're not talking about combat. Combat is how we would say the word as a noun, right? The soldiers were engaged in combat. They were fighting each other. Combat is fighting. But when you use combat as a verb, you change the pronunciation. Now you hit the bat. Combat, all right, is to fight, right? This medicine, you should take this medicine. It will combat your flu or something like that. It will fight against your flu. So basically, if you're using combat as a noun, talking about fighting, there is combat going on. If you're using it as a verb, talking about to fight, to combat.
Interesting. Okay.
A little funny, but yes.
The word ethical is similar to the word humane, which we learned yesterday, right? So if something is ethical, it is morally correct or acceptable. It's what people think is good or the right way to do something. For example, some people believe animal testing is not ethical or unethical. Animal testing, when they test products on animals or medicine on animals.
Yeah, so we're talking about something that's right or wrong, but not based on law, based on just sort of that feeling in your mind that something is okay to do. For example, you could lie to your friends all the time. There's no law that says you can't lie to your friends all the time, but it's not ethical to do that. It's not right to do that. Basically, if you would feel that your mom is looking at you going, I'm so disappointed in you, it's probably not ethical.
No.
Yeah, if you wouldn't do it in front of your teachers or something, it's probably not ethical. All right, let's get back to the article and find out why it's better to adopt pets from an animal shelter. It says, expensive, purebred dogs might be popular and pleasing to the eye, but they come with their own set of problems. So we're talking about here the dogs you would buy in a pet shop. Sometimes they're thousands of dollars, but they're a special breed, a special kind of dog. The golden retriever, the German shepherd that looks like those police dogs, a Dalmatian, the white dog with the black spots. They are from a mom and a dad of the same kind of dog. That's why they're quite expensive. But if you buy one of those, you're spending a lot of money and you're getting an animal that probably isn't very healthy, and it's also not ethical.
But they're pleasing to the eye.
Well, yeah, so what? But it's not pleasing to the eye if it's sick all the time or if it dies very young. And I think a healthy, happy, active dog is much more pleasing.
Pleasing to the eye. So pleasing to the eye means it's something that's good, right?
It looks good.
Yeah.
It's pretty. You don't buy a dog because it's pretty. Buy some flowers. Anyways, let's keep going. Okay,
so why are purebred dogs a problem? Well, our article says many of these puppies come from puppy mills.
Unethical.
Yes, so a puppy mill is a place where many puppies are bred for sale. That means puppies keep getting born.
It's a dog farm.
Yeah. Our article will talk a little bit more about this.
Yes, exactly. Now, the main goal at these facilities, these puppy mills, is to make money. That's what they're there for. They're not really concerned about the dogs being happy and healthy. They just want to make money at these facilities. A facility is basically a place where something happens. Business often happens, or some kind of special process. You could think of a factory as a facility for making products. You could think of a power station as a facility for creating electricity. Or you could think of a hospital as a facility for sick people to go to get treatment. That's what they do in that place.
So a puppy mill is a place, a facility for producing or making puppies.
It's a dog farm.
Doesn't sound very good, no.
Nope.
Okay, so our article continues to say, here, female dogs are often kept in terrible conditions.
Sure, like a farm.
Inbreeding, disease, and abuse are common.
Absolutely.
Our second vocabulary word, condition, refers to the state that something is in. So puppy mills are usually very dirty, and the areas that the dogs are kept in are very small. Let's use the word condition in an example sentence. This car is over 10 years old, but it's still in good condition.
Oh, excellent. Okay, now before we were talking about the puppy mills, and I mentioned that a lot of them come out sick. A lot of these animals you might spend a lot of money for, they're actually not very healthy animals, and one of the big reasons for that is inbreeding. Inbreeding is when a mom and a dad who are very closely related through their family have babies of their own. This is the reason why it's illegal to marry your cousins or your sister or your brother or something like that, is because, first of all, it's weird, but second of all, it'll create babies with all sorts of health problems because the DNA is too close. It doesn't mix very, very well. So inbreeding is when they would take an animal that might have either the same mother or an uncle with the other animal. They put those two together. You create sick animals who have all sorts of genetic or DNA problems. It's a very unhealthy way of making family, which is why most of us marry people that we're not cousins with. All right, that's why it happens. All right, then we also talk about purebred. That would be an animal that is from two different parents, but they're both of the same kind of dog. That's what you're paying for. And that might work, but there might be inbreeding in there. The best, healthiest type of dog or person is mixed breed. You have two families that are completely unrelated. The children have babies, you have healthy babies. If you go to an animal shelter and they have a dog there and you say, "What kind of dog is it?" And they go, "I don't know." It's a mutt. It's M-U-T-T. It's a mixed breed dog. It might have a Dalmatian mom and a poodle father, but somehow they made a baby, and here you have a perfectly healthy, happy dog with all sorts of wonderful, unique DNA. Best choice.
We also saw the word abuse in our article, right?
Kicking and beating and hurting the dogs.
So abuse is cruel or violent treatment of someone or something. Okay, so in puppy mills, dogs are often beaten or treated cruelly or violently.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like a farm, right? No one goes to a farm, and in many farms, you know, the chickens and the pigs, they're not treated very well.
No.
Well, if you want dogs to be like that, that's basically what they're doing. Since dogs from pet shops are purebred, they want to sell you that perfect dog you saw in the movie, for example. They are also more likely to have health problems than mixed breed dogs adopted from a shelter. Can I say one story from my own life?
Okay, what
The
story?
one time my friends bought me a cat from a pet store, that cat died when it was 4 months old. It was the saddest thing ever. The cat ended up dragging itself around because its legs didn't work, and I took it to the vet, and they said it caught this disease in the pet shop. And I've had 5 or 6 other cats. I either found them on the street or I got them from an animal shelter. All lived long, healthy lives. That's just my experience, but I think it shows that, you know, if you get one from an animal shelter, it is going to be at least or more healthy than any animal you would spend a lot of money on from some kind of pet shop or something like that. Let's talk about adopting. Now here we're using adopting as a verb. Adopt is A-D-O-P-T. That's how we spell it. And in day one, we kind of talked about adopting, bringing something into your family. It's not part of your family. It might be a pet. It might also be a person, maybe a young baby with no mom or dad, no family of its own. And you say, we're going to bring that into our family, maybe even give it our family name, raise it as our own, you know, treat it just like any other child. That is to adopt. For example, John adopted a pet canary when he moved out of his home.
Oh,
he likes the singing. Yeah, you can adopt a little bird. Why not?
Okay, what type of health problems do purebreds tend to have? Well,
many.
Our article says, for example, golden retrievers, which is that big golden dog, dog with the golden fur.
And German shepherds also.
They suffer from hip problems.
They have these duck legs. Have you ever seen those big dogs and they walk like ducks? Because their hips are totally messed up. It's not good. It's not healthy.
While French bulldogs,
Tiny little flat nose.
pretty big flat nose actually, have breathing problems, obviously, because their noses are so flat.
Their nose is tiny.
And that can cause serious illnesses.
Yep.
Actually, golden retrievers are one of my favorite
They're wonderful
breeds.
dogs, but you can
really
get a
smart.
lovely mixed breed, maybe a golden retriever with a Labrador cross, a golden lab, even healthier, and it doesn't walk funny.
Yeah. So,
There you go. And French bulldogs, those are those really cute little ones. They're kind of golden, a light brown color, and they have that black face with the kind of flat nose. And these breathing problems, because their noses are so tiny, it can be very, very serious. To breathe is an important thing to do. It's a verb. It's spelled B-R-E-A-T-H-E. Don't forget that E at the end, and breathe with me.
so much better.
Oh, when you're taking air into your lungs and that oxygen is going through your blood, all that thing. But the process of taking the air in and blowing it out is to breathe. And yes, you need a nose to breathe. And imagine if your nose was so tiny you couldn't get air in, it would be a big problem.
If you are looking to get a new pet, give adoption a try. The phrase be looking to do something means if you're thinking about doing something. For example, if you're looking to study abroad, you can consider studying in Australia.
Absolutely. Adopt a wonderful pet from a pet shelter. That's the best thing to do. And as the article concludes, it says this will have a positive impact on the stray animal problem and give a pet a second chance at life. A pet that might have been put to sleep or at least locked in a shelter, like in animal jail for the rest of its life. You're giving it a whole new future. What an impact that would be. And here, impact, it's being used as a noun, I-M-P-A-C-T. The impact of something is the effect of something, all right? So for example, we could say, scientists are still amazed at the impact the internet has had on the modern world. It's had a big effect. It's changed things in many, many, many ways. That's what we're talking about, an impact. And here, if you adopt the animal, yes, you're impacting that animal, but having the animal in your home might also impact you. It might make you a better person, a more kind and loving person, or a healthier person. If you have a dog and you have to get out there and walk and play with them, it can have a positive effect or a good or positive impact on all sorts of things, not just the life of the pet. But that's a lot too.
So we've come to the end of our article, but stay tuned for our chat question.
Okay.